So look, we plan on being consistent now, and if you're hearing this part, then that means I was actually consistent. Give me a round of applause. But today, I'm going to be covering a once again underrated fire show in Heavenly Delusion. I know these anime that don't get the credit they deserve must think I'm the voice like Lil Durk, but we're not there yet. Now I chose this because I heard its second season got confirmed recently, and they left us on one of the nastiest cliffhangers of all time, so you know it's going to be heat. And I'm not going to lie, it gets weird in here. From twins split at birth, to cross-dressing, to gooning addictions, you know, all types of stuff be happening. But before that, I gotta run back one of the wildest duos in anime, so cut the small talk, let's go. So we start off watching these jolly ass kids smiling like life is all sunshine and rainbows. They ain't never had Cocoa Pops and tap water, I can tell. They're in school with a robot teacher, one of them is drawing fish with legs. This is our first glimpse into insanity. This is probably how people felt when they peeped Picasso's work. The question on the exam is, do you want to go outside? Insinuating these kids are held somewhere, and that's when we cut to the outside world. And damn, the whole place is really in ruins. I told you that Arsenal being favourites to win the Premier League meant something would go wrong in the world. We see our two main characters, Maru and Kiruko, and they're really just trying to make ends meet in this post-apocalyptic world. They're genuinely celebrating finding toilet paper. This is the same reaction niggas had when they found toilet paper in the big C19. And Kiruko's first instinct is to get straight to the toilet bowl, which is a real-life commodity in this world. Maru got no home training though and peeps her. He even looks for a good few seconds too. They searching for food throughout the house and end up finding a deceased couple, probably smelling a straight bounce that ass. But somehow they still look happy, holding hands and shit, committing PDA. I can't even wish death upon these guys either, they're already dead. When will it be my turn? Since these guys likely kicked the bucket due to starvation, Maru and Kiruko realize there's probably no food in here, so they'll have to use some of their own supplies. They even out here eating boiled weeds, I'm crying. The next day, they're continuing on their journey and get pulled up on by these bums, and they talk about some, "Woo! So woman, this is just free eats." And check his smile, you know he gets zero play. How you got glasses and no teeth? As for the other guy, I'm just gonna ignore him. I'll really get mad looking at this dude. Maru steps up and says he's actually a dude. Our buddy here looks genuinely disappointed. They put their bags down and Kiruko brings out a pole. But just look at this. You know this junk be jamming like 70% of the time. They decide they don't want to get shot and begin leaving until bro in the glasses says, "Hold up, is that even a real gun?" They turn around and realize that yeah, that shit is not real. Kiruko scoffs like she's about that life before just running away. I'm dead. She knew that tool was not stopping shit. They charge at Maru, but he is moving out there. Hold on, let's replay. He kicks the first guy away, weaves the second before jumping on the fence and roundhouse kicking him in the jaw. The rest trying to jump in, but Kiruko finally lets her gun sing. And oh my goodness, my fault, twin. I did not know it could do all of that. She puts the pole to his dome and asks them to give him info on a place named Heaven. But they're just a bunch of bums, so the only info they have is a place that grows a load of tomatoes. Or tomatoes, as you guys would. At least they charge their batteries while she's running their pockets. Turns out the battery was even for her gun. That was dead, that's the last bullet she had. She didn't even know it was gonna shoot. Work smart, not hard. So we cut back to this school, and this girl Mimihime is talking to this other girl Tokyo about how she's always had a feeling like beyond these walls there was something there, so they begin to wonder. Later that night, the director of the school, which is this old lady, comes out and spots Tokyo staring at the wall. Then she asks, "Is there an outside?" Normally the director of these types of establishments would be all like, "No, there's no, no outside." The director here just tells her straight up that it exists. Maru and Kiruko are really tired from walking and sleeping outside, so they're in search of a good place to sleep. Kiruko asks why Maru has so much energy even though they're similar in age. He asks how old she is and she says 18. No, actually 20. This is important. But then she just chalks it up to being bad with numbers. Maru is 15 by the way. They pull up to this inn and they hand the woman running a stupid bands. Like they really got it. Kiruko even thinks this is too little and hands her a pack of AA batteries for extra compensation. If you can't tell, money ain't even worth anything anymore. She asks if she's seen these two guys she's been looking for anywhere, but the older woman hasn't seen them. Their names are Robin and Doc. Now Kiruko is about to jump in the bath, but she's for real feeling herself and is about to kiss her own reflection, but the woman comes in before she does. Later, Maru is blow drying Kiruko's hair and they spot a gun case in the room and she's talking about there's a monster in the area and she needs it. And Kiruko and Maru start getting all excited saying that they can kill it for her. But for some reason she doesn't seem too keen on the idea. She's even clutching her knife. Anyway, she gets them a little nice meal and warns them siblings should not be getting freaky together, though they weren't ever doing that in the first place and they aren't even siblings. The lights go off and they're extra sleepy today. It cuts to the innkeeper and she's reloading her Remington just before whatever on earth this is pulls up to her window. It cuts back to the director and she's explaining what the outside world is. It's real life hell. And she is not wrong. Where is this thing's face? I thought Stranger Things dealt with the Demogorgons already. Kiruko wakes up with this funky ass parasite latched onto her window. Note, she's waking Maru up so they can pop this thing. They come out and middle-aged woman is holding a pumpy talking about some go back inside. She must not be with the program. They just put a fresh set of double A's in their pack-a-punched Glock. They're just as ready as she is. They're patrolling the darkness trying to find the beast, and Maru is trolling by falling over and shit. But this ain't a game. Of course it's gonna be right behind them. They try throwing something at it, but it straight vaporizes. They think it's some sort of protective barrier, but no. This thing is real life flipping its tail like a whip at supersonic speeds. You can't even see it. If this was pre-Lincoln, he'd be the baddest boy on the block. It attacks, but Maru pushes Kiruko out the way, and it's even blowing up whole V's on impact. They don't know how they're gonna get close, but they're plotting with Maru as bait. And just as she's about to let it fly, the innkeeper shoves Kiruko to the ground. She stays selling. She stands in front of the man-eater and defends it, calling it her son. I don't think that's your son, mate. Basically, her son got eaten by this thing and apparently fused with it. Now she's going around drugging these two to protect them. Kiruko's like, you know what? Fuck it though, it's your life. And says if it's not a threat, you can be cool. She's getting all happy consoling her kid, but this world is grimy. It is not sweet. And she loses half her face, then splits in two. I'm pretty sure the first move was enough, buddy. We didn't have... you did not have to do all that. Kiruko starts saying, did you see that the whip only swings one direction? And Maru is asking if she did not just see this woman get chopped in three. She faces him but is actually crying. She's a dog like that though, and just has to keep it pushing. Now Maru hates to see that, so he steps up to the challenge. Yes, this man is charging headfirst and wielding the basically invisible whips. He latches onto Man-Eater and he can basically feel inside it to crush its heart from the outside. This really some Doctor Strange shit. I thought he was meant to be a regular nigga. Anyway, the Man-Eater just has spraying liquids and he gets him up out of there. So Kiruko and Maru end up at the tomato farm mentioned, which could potentially be the heaven that Maru is looking for. But Kiruko knows that her job as his guard isn't done till Maru himself is satisfied. He explains that somewhere out there there's a guy with the same face as him, and he's been instructed to inject that person with this drug once they come into contact with each other, because it will, quote, help the world. The person who looks like him is probably Tokyo from the facility. They're approached by some people looking after the crops and they take him to their leader. They're overall pretty receptive, and later that night Kiruko says that she's got a bad feeling. She also says that this place likely isn't heaven or have his look like, since nobody reacted strangely when they saw him. That's when someone comes in and is shocked, saying that Kiruko looks familiar. He thinks she's a former super popular go-kart racer that went missing 5 years ago after killing her brother. And he even got receipts too. He pulls out, photographic evidence. She denies, and Maru says it's the wrong person, despite admitting the picture does look exactly like her. While also telling Buddy to skedaddle, he noticed the logo on one of the boxes is the same as the one that they have on their strap. The man doesn't know anything about it though, but only that it sometimes comes on the ships to and from Tokyo. So these two jobless people hop on the next ship back to Tokyo. On the ship, Maru confesses that he likes Kiruko and he really not trying to waste any time. Unfortunately, there's a very fine line before trying to be steezy and leaning in and just straight up SA. She's all flustered and stops him beforehand. This is where she spills to Maru that her body is a woman's but her mind is a man's. I know, like, she's being dead ass. There's literally a nigga's brain in her body. That's why she was checking herself out so intently in the bathroom. He's a dog. Now, we go back 5 years to find out the true story behind all this. So this is Kiruko, and she's straight swerving around that bend like prime Paul Allen. And all now, this little kid Haruki is getting banged on by two grown adults. They talking about some, he's seen her face, and pull out a 6-inch blade. Me thinking these guys are engaging in some organized horrible crime, but no. This other guy kicked his bro in the face and it's revealed they're just making fake tickets for the race we saw earlier. Old buddy's name is Robin. He's really caving their skull in. Chill on them, twin. Fake tickets have never been this serious. Now little bro part of an orphanage of some sort, and he's flexing the jacket Robin gave him before Kiruko pulls up after her race that she was disqualified in after falling out of her cart. Later that night, the gang is running towards a Man-Eater that's been spotted in the area, and little old Haruki is feeling himself and he's trying to pull up to prove himself to Robin. He even has a homemade tool on his hip. He manages to assist in killing it off screen, but Robin is mad at him for doing something so dangerous. Now he's about to go see his sister's next race. He's watching from a nearby tower with some binoculars, but then he hears a loud crash in the distance, and after really locking in, he realizes that's an invisible Man-Eater at the end of the track, meaning these guys are very likely about to get slimed if they go. Now remember, Haruki is Mr. Feeling himself, so he decides he'll eliminate the Man-Eater before the guys at the track get there. He could have just told them to stop the race, but I know he ain't even really want to do that with his weak ass attempt. He deadass just wanted an excuse to let his tool spray. Now Kiruko is straight dogging these punks on the course. She's talented for real, but I'm not gonna lie, she should not be trying to go too fast. Her brother just shot a nail at the beast at the end, and that shit did 0 damage. And look at him, he realized this was real life very swiftly. Nigga took off his jacket and all. He has a knife and charges headfirst into this thing that's literally called a Man-Eater. No need for explanation, he literally starts getting consumed seconds later. Kiruko swerves past the corner and spots a Man-Eater on the track before alerting everybody to dip out of there. Then she hears bro smacking his lips like Tismala and realizes that it's real life chewing on somebody. And that somebody is her little brother. So she reverses the V and crashes right into the Man-Eater, but that does no damage. And it messes up her all white Coco Chanel fit, so it's a lose-lose. Then she decides to try and freebow directly, which ends up working. kind of. This man is a straight vegetable. Haruki knows it's over, so he starts reminiscing and shit. He's even seeing visions of his sister walking into the red moon before suddenly waking up in a hospital. He starts talking and realizes that wait, he's talking like a girl. Then he looks in the mirror and realizes that wait, I look exactly like my sister. So yeah, he starts panicking and tweaking now. So they decide to just tranquilize bro. Now Kiruko is asking for the doctor, you know, the one from the pic, but she's being told that he's already skipped town and that nigga did the dash. And everyone is under the impression already that Haruki is dead. Only Kiriko survived, and that Kiriko is just tweaking because she's in shock. Separately, since Haruki was in love with his sister and he inherited her body, he low-key developed a gooning addiction. We're just gonna blame that on the mental trauma. So she's asking around for all the homies, but turns out Robin is presumed dead and the rest of the orphans get moved away. But Kiriko doesn't believe that. She thinks Robin is still alive and kicking along with the doctor. Sounds like hope to me. Since then, Kiriko has been picking up odd jobs, and that leads us finally to present day. Shit not even sweet either here, man. Someone's shouting, and the next thing you know, you have this small plane-sized fish with legs attacking their ship. Not to mention, Karuko's pack-a-punch pistol literally did nothing to it. It cuts to the gated community, and Tokyo and the frog bitch from My Hero Academia are trying to sneak around because she allegedly found babies and wants to show Tokyo. And she deadass might be floppy because she's scaling the wall and pulls up in this vent. What sort of genetic freaks are they creating in here? Obviously, Tokyo cannot do this shit, so she has to use a little cleaning robot to lift her up. I know niggas like Froppy, they're the funnest but worst friends to have because we know damn well they should not be doing this. So back to the ship, and they're stuck for ideas until Karuko asks about the unused room in the lower deck because she believes that the only way they're going to beat this is by taking the fight inside. And yeah, it's follow the leader out there, so Maru tags along. But when he asks about the plan since the Kiru beam is out of ammo, she just tells him that they're gonna have to use the Maru touch. These names are kinda hard. This isn't even a real plan. How are you gonna endanger my life and tell me about it after? Kiruko is rage baiting the fish to chase them, and she honestly enjoying herself a little too much. This thing just tried to hydro pump them. They go into a hidden room and it follows them in there. The door to leave is jammed and Maru is real life stressing, but Kiriko is calm like that demon is not in the same room as them. All of a sudden it starts drying up because the boxes filled with that green absorb all of its water. She really had it all figured out from the start. Tombashim, she predicted this room would be filled with straight marijuana. Anime protagonists just be saying shit. Anyway, they use Maru touch on it and that's that. Back at the school, these guys are walking through the vents and drop into a room full of babies?
Pause! What is that?
Hey, that is not no baby, I'm telling you. No, don't move your hand towards me all cute and shit, my nigga. What are you? Suddenly there's an intruder alert and the frog chick jumps up to the vent and leaves Tokyo. Watch who you call your homie. Watch who you call your brother. She's really about to get caught and I guess she's trying to act like somebody with schizophrenia to avoid critique. Luckily though, the alert was from a different room, not the one that they were in. They can't figure out why it was for that room and even the monitors they have show the baby room is empty. But of course we know that's not the case. Frog girl comes back for her homegirl but the damage is done, man. You gotta cut the grass so the snakes can show on folks' grave. It ends with this baby repeating the name Tokyo. She ain't even got a mouth either. I don't know how he did that. They leave the ship and the owner offers the money for helping them out. And this shit is like a smooth 200 bands lowball. We can tell by the girth and tonnage of the stack. But unfortunately, money is low-key useless in this day and age. Then they settle and sleep in this abandoned shop for the night. The shelter kids don't really know how to go about, their innate human desires. So old buddy is confessing to this girl how he sometimes sees her and wants to keep her locked up in his room. Hold on, let's let him land. He also says that he feels like taking her clothes off and touching and licking her. Listen, I mean, I understand you don't exactly know about this stuff, but nigga, damn, what kind of shot is that? The girl don't really care to. She's out here saying she's cool with it, even if she doesn't understand. Tokyo overhears this and for some reason runs away. She pulls up on the sick kid and he's trying to kiss her out of nowhere. I don't really know why everyone's overly freaked out all of a sudden. These little niggas got no bag work. That's a horrendous shot. The art guy Kona comforts her, saying that what they're feeling is love and that someday you'll want to touch and be touched. Yada yada yada. Tokyo says she wants it to be him. Holy mog. Just be 6'3" and not bedridden. Anyway, he shares the sentiment and he got her kicking her feet in the air and shit after that night. She gets an exclusive announcement and his Tarao, the sick kid's condition, is worsening. When she pulls up, he warns her that she needs to run away from here as this place is dangerous. Kiruko and Maru are in the next town and Maru is relieving some stress because the girl he liked actually turned out to be a dude. Some street level thugs pull up doing the usual gag. Maru not really in the mood and starts mollywopping them. We got a grown ass man on all fours for a child too. Kiruko pulls up late and rocks this guy without even knowing anything. That's a real ride or die. Take notes, frog girl. Anyway, that's how Maru lost a tooth. The next day, Kiruko's shopping and hears this group of goons talking about the Ministry of Reconstruction, who basically are working to return society to how it was before, and remembers Robin telling her about it way back when. Back at the crib, Kiriko pulls up and calls for Maru, but old buddy's not responding. She starts panicking, shouting and shit, and then he pops out in the next room. Don't scare me like that. What were you doing in there? Turns out he was just walking this shit. Why Shorty on the cover looked like Kiruko too? Anyway, Dax really scares her and she starts crying, so Maru comforts her. Except bro got a bone the whole time. In other news, Tara died to his illness. That's really, about it, to be honest. R.I.P. He had the right mind. He was a dog. Someone knocks on the duo's door talking about some protect me as I go to the Immortal Order who allegedly have a doctor that can keep you alive forever. Kiruko thinks this may be the doctor from her past and she agrees. Buddy here was storing man-eater body parts to use in experiments or something, but it rotted away and he spilled it all over the floor. I just know that smells like straight bounce that ass. He's not trying to give up the loan now, but Kiruko just throws him 90 bands and he starts singing. Arrive at a town with allegedly 100% safe water. Now asks short stuff over here for directions. She tells him but also recommends they sleep in their local inn. She even, flexing that they got beds in a hotel. That's how you know that they're really trenched up. They're flexing beds in a hotel. They agree to keep their stuff there and we'll come back later. On their exploration, they encounter Buddy in this little underground passage and he looks like he just came out from a 1v1 with a gorilla. Help my buddy. Then we see bro mangled on the ground. Who the fuck was he fighting? Yo, what is that? His ass chasing them and they run about it. Then Kiruko turns, letting her pack-a-punch pistol sing at his beam. Then shoots again, causing the pillar to fall on the man-eater. Maru uses the Maru touch, now renamed to Fatal Dive. I'm not sure why they're pretending like that shit isn't more tough, but it doesn't work. Because bro isn't actually a man-eater, it's literally just a wild animal. Anyway, they climb up in order to evade it, but it's just camping out below them. So they still have their blick, but sometimes it just doesn't work. So Kiruko decides to warm up the battery, to increase the odds or whatever, but it falls down. Kiruko looks Maru dead in the eyes and asks him if he sees her as a man or a woman. And he's saying, well, you got a woman's body. So Kiruko says, I'll let you touch my boobs if you go down. That's all it took. He channeled his inner Denji. Nigga ain't even land well either, but all that's in his mind is the prize. No time for thinking about pain. Funniest thing is the bear pulls up right after 2. I'm scrambling up the ladder. They make up a new plan. Maru is abnormally strong, so he can jump down without getting hurt. Then he'll catch Kiruko, who will uppull on the bear and blow his shit off. In the event it doesn't fire, Maru runs away. It fired. Maru ain't run away either though, he holds it down. They back at the hotel and Kiruko's trying to sleep like she ain't made no promises with the big dog. Kiruko starts talking about his sister. I guess it's Haruki's sister. It's just like her body, and how her hair was originally black in this body but it changed to this browny red color. He thinks it's a curse telling him not to mess with her body. Maru's not trying to hear all that though. I'm dead. Then she tries the gaslighting method of actually being a man, but again, he's not trying to hear all that. I can only look at this and respect the drive. They get interrupted because dirty in the futons is not allowed and Maru is escorted to another room. Then Shorty wants to get in on the action in return for some payment. She's moving quick too. Very soon she's going to be naked and I can't show the screen properly because she puts his hand in her boob and shit must have felt amazing because it sent him to the Maru touch world, but it's not meant to do that. So he screams for Kiruko to pull up while he restrains her for being a potential man-eater. Except this nigga got hurt in prone bone. This standalone image is largely inexplicable, so he just accepts his fate. Anyway, they manage to clear it up and bygones are bygones. So the next day, Kiruko and Maru are trying to locate this Immortal Order, but also earn some cheese on the side, so they're selling being able to kill the man-eaters. They get spotted and snitched on by this guy to a doctor currently operating, and he tells him to bring them to him. They're brought into this small room and Kiruko shows them the picture of her doctor, but they're not familiar with him. Matter of fact, they're not even with the Immortal Order, they're just a rebel group. The actual Immortal Order just missed them. Apparently, the Immortal Order isn't a normal hospital, and this girl was a former member, but they be taking out niggas' body parts and shit and just leaving them with prosthetics. Are you gonna get slime for your own limbs, dog? She even said that they're keeping a dismembered human alive that's just begging to die. They're also apparently holding man-eaters in the basement. These niggas are nefarious. So yeah, they hire Kiruko and Maru to be the bodyguards for the protest and also to kill the man-eater being stored in the basement. When they're down there, Maru can't shake the feeling they're getting backdoored. That's when they notice this dormant baby man-eater which is promptly dispatched. Then they find this nasty ass adult version. That's just making my skin crawl. Ew. But bro must have spelt some good food, because all of a sudden its offspring gets lively but Kiruko's on the ball and snipes it. But they're out here just phasing through solid matter and there's just too many to count. They get the better of Maru and Kiruko. She lets her gun sing again but the bullet real life phases through. And this thing is gonna open its mouth that's the shape of 4 guillotines. It's taking bites out of Kiruko. It's over. But this is the MC and it's only episode 7. So she wakes up to Maru kissing her to snap her out of her hallucination. Maru's mad that in her final moments she calls out for Robin to save her instead of Maru, but like, this was you in the hallucination world. You didn't even fight back the entire time. They killed the man-eater that hypnotized Kiruko and this middle-aged blue-collar man pulls up and starts laughing hysterically. I would have just shot him dead then and there. There's no risk taken after what just happened, but he's asking for help to kill something else. So the leader of the bums outside get a rock thrown at her and she slips and cracks her skull off the pavement and allegedly dies.
Let's go! I'm sick of her ass!
So now these guys protesting have an excuse to just take up arms and start planning attacking. The alleged human experiment doctor really just a regular doctor too. It seems like he's just treating patients as you would normally and he leads them to a room of the person he wants them to kill. God, I do not want to be the one to say it, but put her out of her misery. There's real life 29 wires coming out of her body. I counted. Maru can't even look at her, and he tells him straight to just unplug everything. But Dr. Usami cannot because she will turn into a man-eater if he does, allegedly. Apparently she has a disease that will make her turn into a man-eater. The only way to temporarily stop the spreading is by amputating the affected area. But it always comes back. And yes, Maru is able to use his Maru touch on her, but he wants to know what she wants. And she can communicate through this tablet. Her final request is to see the sky one last time, so they successfully take her to do so. All now, the white shirts are running through the building. Her wish of seeing the sky is fulfilled, and Maru crushes her heart with the Maru touch. Dr. Usami believes he was an evil man for keeping her alive that long, but her final words were thanking him for giving her this eye, thanking him for letting her die human, and thanking him for everything. And finally, that she loved him, before he burst into tears. Hey man, that was some real nigga shit. They managed to get all the patients to safety in a nearby settlement, and Dr. Usami tells them he will catch up to them later. Kiruko ends up asking about her doctor and Robin, and find out that Robin is actually in fact alive. Dr. Usami is on the rooftop with his girl. Her being gone means he no longer has any ties to this world, so he puts the gun to his head, and that's all she wrote. Maru and Kiruko come up and see that he's dead. Maru slams the wall in anger, believing that his hands only bring death, despite Kiruko's words. Damn. In a flashback at the nursery, I guess one of the students was this alien chick. She out here performing straight miracles, healing cuts, making people see things, causing power outages. She realizes that she was born for something, and then just, ends it. RIP, I guess. Damn, I ain't even know bro like that, but they seem pretty cool. So they pull up to the next place, and after an earthquake, they want to go scavenge for some resources. But they meet this very clearly suspicious man. Quick interjection from the nursery. Maybe Hime can see alien bro hanging from the ceiling, but she's the only one who can't, and Tokyo seems to be sick or something. Bro over here is willing to help Kiruko and Maru by offering up info in exchange for money, but he's just retelling ghost stories.
Is this nigga serious?
These niggas are real life getting hustled. He's eventually scared off, and bro really thought it through because he was hiding the symbol they've been looking for just so he can keep telling stories for some extra dough. That's a real trencher baby. But yeah, they notice the building he was covering up has the same logo as Kiruko's gun, so they head in to explore it. They also learn that the academy, or well, that it exists at least, and is probably tied to the heaven they're searching for. Also, Tokyo is pregnant. I was not familiar with the art niggas game. So they link up back with the hustler with the car, and he had this one story about a town where it's all women and they be using men as slaves strictly for their ability to procreate. You make a girl, they get accepted, but the baby boys get sent to the slammer with the rest of the men. Turns out his son was actually victim of this, and he wants to know if he's still alive after he escaped by himself. Anyway, he wants revenge, and conveniently the area he's heading to matches up with the one that the academy's at. So Kiruko and Maru follow him in exchange for protection. His name is Juichi, by the way. So they arrive at the place, and Juichi warns Kiruko that they really don't rock with big boob girls, so she's gonna have to put a zip on that. And since Maru would probably get smoked on sight since he's a dude, she's probably gonna have to go with this girl.
She kinda bad though. Is that Frost?
So yeah, Maru going to sneak in dressed as a chick. This place seems mostly abandoned, and Maru accidentally kicks a bucket over. Suddenly the entire building starts freezing over. Yes, there is in fact a man-eater in here, and they're being frozen solid like quick. Kiruko's eyes are about to freeze shut, but as a last second call out from Maru telling her to aim above, it saves them both for now. Kudos to them too, they got some good survival instincts because they actually run away on time instead of frolicking around. The nasty spider thing above them, but I guess I gave them too much credit because she fills her mouth with water and walks it down. Man-eater attacks through the window and she intercepts it with this water spit move, showing where it'll freeze over. She's able to weave it and let that ray gun sing, decapitating it. Maru isn't able to locate its core though, meaning it got away. But then they realize there's no way a child survived with this thing around, so Juichi's son is likely, well, not here or worse, dead. But that's hitting a little too close for home for Kiruko, so she just tells him to keep on trying. Someone calls out to them and they recognize Juichi. It's actually his former homeboys, and they tell him the good news. They survived, and so did his jit. He even grew up happy and healthy, already sucking meat off the bone. What exactly are they teaching this nigga? Night comes and they're freezing again, so Kiruko tries escorting Juichi's kid to safety. However, when Kiruko is real life about to die, Maru realizes that the kid actually is the man-eater causing the cold. Funnily enough, Bro just stops causing problems, and that's the end of that. I guess they're just gonna live with the fact that this infant can kill them at any time. Well, as thanks, Juichi gives Kiruko and Maru the V and they head off. But you see, Juichi had a problem. When he was originally escaping, someone decided to shout out and snitch, and he didn't like that. So he slimed him then and there because after all, it's his fault that the mother of his child died. He also takes the group car and gets up out of there with his kid. At the academy, Tokyo's giving birth and she's getting some brain synchronization with Kona, the art dude, so that pretty much confirms that he's the dad. The kid comes out pretty normal looking too. I don't know why, but I expected it to half be an alien. Also, new plot point alert, the director of the facility is on her last legs, and the whole point of this academy is to curate a new brain or something to put in her body, or like vice versa, I can't really tell. Effectively, she's trying to live longer, but all the kids keep dying before they reach that stage, so she's banking it all on Tokyo's kid. But You need to be at least 13 years old for the operation to be safe, and her solution is using the assistant director as a stopgap vessel. Of course, she has no idea about this because, niggas just be evil. Maru and Kiruko are packing it in for a night, and Maru sees smoke in the distance coming from the facility they were searching for, so they decide that they'll visit in the morning to see what's happening. Then it cuts to Robin, who Kiruko was searching for this whole time. Back at the academy, there's a little kid Mimi Hime is talking to, but she warns her not to, before proceeding to develop robot arms and slime her. This is starting to get a little, sinister. Anyway, it turns out it's just a dream, but she realizes that when she looked into the kid's eyes, her worst fears come out. She sees Conan in the next room and explains to him that she's able to see things and can vaguely tell what's going to happen before it does. Even now, she's seeing this demon looming over them. This gotta be the scariest thing to experience ever. Lil J is outside waiting for her and wants to apologize, but she doesn't want to accidentally use her ability again and hides her eyes. Mimi Hime is a real one though, and forces eye contact, triggering her ability, but she just tells all the bad thoughts to go away and says there's nothing to be afraid of. She's a real big sister, man. Shout out Mimi Hime. The academy guys are holding a test, and the robot teacher refers to them as Hiriko, aka the other name for man-eaters. After the fact, they said that they felt like they were being called by their real name. So these supernatural kids are actually not normal kids? Imagine my shock. On that note, this is where the story's tempo triples, so lock in with me and let's do this. So these supernatural kids academy system seems to be failing all of a sudden. Nothing is working, and that's when the room starts caving in, and they're in the place that they saw the night before. And it's real sophisticated. There's a money system using these chips. You gotta get an ID to be registered and shit. Then Kiruko asks if someone called Robin is registered here too, and he is. So at long last, she knows his whereabouts. Then the secretary even arranges a meeting for the two of them at the power plant. Kiruko isn't trying to show it, but she's really happy. Maru notices and offers to stay home while she visits him. Kiruko promises to come back later. Hey, that's a death flag. You gotta watch yourself with sentences like that. She runs to the plant. It's all cinematic and shit. After all, this is her original brain's idol, and she sees him in the distance before calling out his name. Though that reaction is kinda strange, but people react to shock differently, so we move. The academy's in disarray. They decide to escort all these kids to the swimming pool while the older kids, including Mimi Hime, investigate the hole in the wall leading to the outside. Granny director is telling her attendant to hurry up and move her to safety, but she's bugging, so Granny just gets up and starts running. Hey, this whole time she could run? I'm dead. Oh, now Tokyo's baby is duplicated. I don't even know if this was a twin or what, but there's two of them. Kiruko meets Robin. She's out there moving a million miles an hour, explaining everything, asking questions and such, but he's trying to get her to slow down. So he tells her to take it easy now and take a hot bath. She finally feels at ease now. Maru's at home bored, but he realizes that she left her strap at home. Kiruko's clothes are gone when she finishes showering, but Robin tells her he's warmed up the room and they're in there. I honestly don't have much faith in humanity during apocalypses, so I would not recommend going in there. My assumption is correct. This nigga is a weirdo. The kids made it to the outside world and they are starstruck. And this isn't even the UK either, so they haven't even seen the best part of the world yet. Robin is on that SEO villain timing. He's telling Haruki to watch what he's going to do to his sister's body. The academy kids still think this is some sort of test. You little guys just found freedom for the first time in your life. Get to jogging. They don't have many opportunities like this. But Mimi Hime says she'll come back later. She's gonna make sure Tokyo is good first. Real one right there. Mimi Hime is the GOAT. Maru is still waiting on Kiruko to come back, but it's been 2 days now. He's getting worried. He pulls up outside the plant and these two low tier fodder are saying Robin told nobody to come in. After all, he's rekindled with his old squeeze. Apparently they be going crazy at night too. But as we know, it's not exactly desirable. Maru is pissed at this, so he throws her over into the river and does the same thing to his homie before walking down to the plant. He peeps 2 more guards, but just skips the talking. He head kicks the first one, and bro over here comes out the gates like he's Terrence Crawford, but Maru parries the first, then weaves the jab. Don't got hands though, and he walks in with that rear hook. Maru eats it and returns it with the overhand. 1 punch knockout, sign him up. Kiruko is all alone in the room, and her mind is getting all confused. Haruki is seeing his sister's memories despite it being his brain, and she calls out for Maru to save her, and that's when he opens the door to her room. Then he turns left. It's Robin. Ooh, he's trying to run. Maru's aura got him dropping his keys and shit, and peeped the walk down. Not a word said. Robin is backed into a corner and tries talking to Maru, but there's no response. Then he tries dipping out of there. Denied. 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 I know that last one hurt too, bro hit the concrete. So Robin decides it's likely time he has to throw hands. Bad decision, he was better off just biting the curb or something. Maru looking at Robin like he's real life dog shit. I guess he actually is. Before standing over him and raining haymakers on his decked out body. He's 2-0, get him in the UFC. The doctor pulls up in Tokyo hiding and gives her one of her babies. I don't know why she seems confused about all this too, like it didn't come out of her. The director pulls up covered in blood. The man in Tokyo hands over her baby. Like, who the fuck is this? Nigga, I don't know you. and Tokyo stands 10 toes, so Director Granny commands the robot assistant to retrieve it for her, but that's when Tokyo pulls out the Hiriko power she's been hiding all now, and then the screen cuts to the kids outside. Mimihime and Shiro are trying to get back to the school but are lost, and she slips down a mountainside, but Shiro jumps right after her, breaking her fall, and like a true aura farmer, uses this opportunity to confess his feelings to Mimihime. Properly this time though, he did a better job. I guess Mimihime understood this time and gives him her shirt button. It goes to Maru, and Kiriko shouts out to him not to kill Robin. Based on his expression, he doesn't seem to understand why she's saying it, and then begrudgingly kicks the wall and walks off. It cuts to after, and she's obviously down in the dumps. Then Maru uses this time to say that if she was Haruki, he probably would have just liked him as a friend, and if she was Kiriko, then he doesn't think that he'd fall in love with her either. The one he loves is Kiruko, before finally vowing to protect her. Then we get Kiruko snotting all over him. She rips up the pictures of Robin, and I guess she's past him now. Not Maru though. He says he's killing bro the next time he sees him. Back at the plant, some guys are investigating it and see a girl hooked up to something in the room. Like, what on earth was bro doing here? He should never see daylight again. But yeah, I told you guys we got a cliffhanger because the show just ends with Maru and Kiriko driving off. What happened to Turbo Granny in Tokyo? I got questions, damn. Hopefully we do get that second season. Don't worry, I got your boys with that part for sure. It's been Narratives. Peace.